Hey everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. News we're not supposed to speak about. And I've got some of that lined up this morning. Big time. Right here, we'll start off with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman says it's totally possible that there will be a world-shaking cyber attack this year that would get people's attention. So if you remember, say, about 5 years ago when Klaus Schwab was talking about a cyber pandemic during the COVID pandemic, and he said it would be much worse. And he said, well, we know that this planned attack will be used to justify restricted access to AI systems. And I would also add the internet in general, because these AI tools, they'll say, are simply too powerful to entrust to the public. And so they just need the right crisis to justify all this, and that crisis is planned and coming. I agree. In fact, I would say it's happening right now with this war in Iran. As now Iran is threatening a retaliatory strike on a Stargate AI project in the UAE. Could this be part of at least, what Sam Altman is talking about here? This so-called cyber pandemic that Klaus Schwab was pushing 5 years ago. Well, here we go. Iran is threatened to follow through on its threat to strike tech operations in Israel and the Persian Gulf Emirates. This Brigadier General Ibrahim Zolfaghari, IRGC headquarters spokesperson, in a video released April 5th, singled out the AI Stargate data center in the UAE. He threatened complete and utter annihilation of the $30 billion facility in Abu Dhabi and extended the threat to other U.S. and Israeli tech targets. In early March, the IRGC attacked Amazon's AWS data centers in Bahrain and Dubai, triggering outages. It was the first time a hyperscale cloud provider suffered a military attack, notes Tom's Hardware. Earlier this month, IRGC claimed to have hit Oracle's data center in Dubai, although this was denied by Oracle. Should the USA proceed with its threats concerning Iran's power plant facilities, the following retaliatory measures shall be promptly enacted. All power plants, energy infrastructure, information and communications technology of the Zionist regime, and all similar companies within the region that have American shareholders shall face complete and utter annihilation. The IRGC provided provided a censored Google Maps satellite of the Stargate facility. Nothing stays hidden to our site, though hidden by Google, the caption reads. A second photo of the site, taken apparently with night vision or a similar technology, reveals the hidden structures redacted by Google, and you can see that here. Now, G42, OpenAI, Oracle, NVIDIA, Cisco, and SoftBank collaborated to establish the UAE Stargate AI project. Group 42 Holding Limited, known as G42, is an Emirati AI development holding company headquartered in Abu Dhabi. Oracle, NVIDIA, and Cisco were specifically mentioned in a previous IRGC threat. This initiative is led by Sam Altman of OpenAI, Larry Ellison of Oracle, and Masayoshi Son of SoftBank, and all three are billionaires. OpenAI and Microsoft provide artificial intelligence for the IDF. CEO and founder Sam Altman, during a meeting with Israeli President Isaac Herzog, said Israel will play a huge role in AI development. Ellison, the second richest man in the world, has donated millions to the Friends of the IDF and maintains close ties with the Israeli leadership, including Netanyahu. Masayoshi Son's SoftBank Group invests in Israeli technology, particularly in AI and cybersecurity. Son also invests in Israeli tech startups, including Lemonade, Compass, and WeWork. The Stargate project, the 5-data center, $400 billion investment, is supported by President Trump. Yeah, he announced it. What was it, like the day that he was sworn in, I think, or maybe the day after? The original site is located in Abilene, Texas, with subsequent sites in Lordstown, Ohio, and Milam County, Texas. Trump pushed the project through an AI action plan released in July. The initiative aims to federalize state-level AI regulations and accelerate the development of AI. Yes, remember, everything's being federalized in regards to AI here in the United States. The states are being essentially told to buzz off. You're not going to be allowed to contribute any of your own laws, rules, or regulations. It's all up to the feds. So this massive 1 gigawatt Stargate UAE data center is the world's largest AI computing cluster outside of the United States. G42 has a plan to expand the facility to encompass this 10 square mile site with up to 5 gigawatts of power. Stargate represents the first international deployment of open AI infrastructure in West Asia. It is designed to enhance sovereign AI capabilities in the Gulf. Due to Stargate's large scale and enormous energy requirements, it has been compared to the Manhattan Project. Yes, the secret project that developed nuclear weapons for World War II. And it says here, safeguarding our models is a continuous commitment and a core pillar of our security posture. And blah, 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 the usual rhetoric that they always talk about. We will continue to invest in defense in-depth measures that address physical security, insider threats, and so on. Anyway, Iran has demonstrated physical security of enemy infrastructure is no longer realistic. For more than a decade, it's worked to improve the precision and lethality of its ballistic missiles, and we're seeing that today. It's estimated Iran has up to 80,000 Shaheed loitering munitions and can produce hundreds daily. If the United States was unable to secure its 1.1 billion ballistic missile tracking system in Qatar, there's little chance it will be able to protect corporate assets in West Asia. If the crown jewel of Stargate AI is taken out in the UAE, it is likely the project will fail with the loss of $30 million or more. So the IRG notice threatens the entire AI build-out in West Asia. The Gulf states, particularly the UAE and Saudi Arabia, have aggressively positioned themselves as neutral computing corridors, offering cheap energy, abundant capital, and favorable regulatory environments. Exactly. And so this war isn't going to end anytime soon, and it just continues and continues to escalate, as we talked about in this video, or showed you in this video, I should say, this morning, about war crimes and the civilizational collapse, because it's not just Trump talking about collapsing civilizations. A professor in Iran named Marandi is also talking about it, saying that the entire world civilization could collapse, not just Iran, but Europe, America, North America, of course. And you'll have hundreds of millions of people starving and trying to find power and fuel and everything else. And it's going to be absolute chaos. So, wow, the worst is yet to come, guys. Stay prayed up and prepped up at all times. And then this story here, I was going to report on it yesterday, but other people had already beat me to it, and I just figured I'd let more of it play out today. But anyway, from Simplicus over on Substack, it's official. U.S. boots on the ground deep inside Iran amidst another day of humiliating losses. And so we all know now that the U.S. has lost a lot of aircraft assets inside of Iran, particularly the other day when they were going to get this pilot, because there was one missing. One was rescued almost right away, and then there was still one missing. But there was something else going on that the mainstream will never tell you about, unless they're forced to, because it becomes so obvious. But here we go. The morning broke with the news of a large-scale U.S. operation to supposedly extract the second down pilot, the weapons systems officer from Iran, who had ejected from a shot-down F-15E on Thursday. Now, the scale of losses for this operation alone turned out to be massive, as the U.S. lost hundreds of millions worth of planes, allegedly getting the airmen back to safety. The operation involved all kinds of special forces units, which amounted to boots on the ground inside of Iran for the first time, at least officially. So we know the story. The F-15 went down over southwestern Iran on Thursday, with the second crewman reportedly making first radio contact around noon on Friday, wherein he'd climbed a mountain to transmit his emergency signal. And so we've heard the stories and how all that went. And of course, Fox News and everyone are playing it up like it's a movie production. But anyway, there it is. U.S. Special Forces enter Iran to rescue downed airmen. And so the various U.S. Special Forces teams, which included the Air Force's pararescue, allegedly engaged in gun battles against the Iranian Basij militias in order to keep them under cover fire while the airman was extracted. And so they said there are reports that the Air Force pararescue teams are currently conducting an operation to extract the last remaining F-15 pilot inside Iranian territory. And so that's what was going on. That was the official story. And the U.S. allegedly flew in two HC-130 transport aircraft, as well as several different types of helicopters and other craft. Now, what blew my mind is why would you fly in two HC-130s to rescue one pilot? That doesn't make any sense to me. You'd send in choppers, get in, get out. And so, yeah, it didn't make any sense to me. The modernized C-295W of the U.S. Air Force was spotted at an extremely low altitude in the sky over Iran. This aircraft is in service with the specialized secret 427th Special Operations Squadron, which is part of the U.S. Air Force Special Operations Command. Now, the official story claims the 130s got stuck in the mud after landing and had to be destroyed on the ground along with several helicopters, though this is later updated to a mechanical failure despite bullet holes being found on the wings and fuselage of the wreckage. They were shot down, guys. The militias were shooting at them as soon as they started circling. But buckle up, because here's where the story begins to fall apart. The original F-15E that was shot down was said to have gone down in southwestern Iran with these geolocations, which is about 80 kilometers from the Iranian coastline. Yet, all these, even major outlets reported the crash to have happened in southwestern Khuzestan province. To the best of my ability, I've traced the original geolocation to this post, which shows U.S. PAVE Hawk combat search and rescue choppers flying over the area presumed to be the original F-15E crash site. But here's the plot twist. The new footage of the American C-130 transport craft and helicopters has been geolocated to over 200 kilometers away at a different location. The above geolocation is just south of Isfahan, as you can see, about 200 kilometers from the earlier location. What's up here is where the C-130s are, and this is where the pilot supposedly was located, 200 kilometers to the south, southwest. So, caveat, a CSAR geolocation appeared only to show a group of aircraft or search craft passing through that location. It did not actually geolocate the downed F-15E wreckage itself. For all we know, those helicopters had been passing from there toward the Isfahan site. But remember, even official MSM sources with contacts in government had initially reported the crash to be precisely the area where the CSAR choppers were spotted and geolocated. So this does not rely on one piece of evidence alone. Furthermore, it obviously makes more sense for an F-15E to have been operating around the coastal zone and not 300 kilometers in deep in Isfahan, Iran, lobbing short-range bombs, which one would think would be the job of more stealthy aircraft. However, a later geolocation did allegedly pin the F-15E crash to just south of the Isfahan site. So the above photo used for geolocation with the crater in it was from the original series of photos with the F-15E debris seen here. So now that would put the distance between the two sites at 25 kilometers. The northwestern one is the F-15 crash site, and the southeastern one is the C-130 debris field. Then there's the fact that two C-130s were used to extract a single down pilot, a plane that's meant to carry nearly 100 passengers. Does that strike anyone else as a little suspicious? Yeah, just a little. Granted, the official story claims a huge number of special forces were flown in. But why? Why would you need that many? I understand that he needed cover and because there were a lot of militias looking for him, but still. The two MC-130 aircraft that ferried roughly 100 U.S. Special Operations Forces into Iran to extract the final F-15 crew member, the WSO, suffered mechanical failures and were unable to take off, risking leaving commandos stranded behind enemy lines. But if that's the case, how did they get that same number out after both planes suffered mechanical failures? But wait, there's more. The geolocated wreckage of the C-130s, which apparently using a local agricultural airstrip, just happens to be right over a mountain about 35 kilometers away from Isfahan's nuclear facility, where Iran's near weapons grade enriched uranium is allegedly stored. In an article just last month, Rafael Grossi stated the following: almost half of Iran's enriched uranium, up to 60% purity, a short step from weapons grade, was stored in tunnel complex at Isfahan and is probably still there, according to UN watchdog chief Rafael Grossi. That's what he said on Monday. You can confirm via the above link in the quote that they're referring to the Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center at the center of the discussion. There is apparently an underground complex at the connected missile complex whose southern entrance is here at these locations. This puts the failed U.S. clandestine operation 35 kilometers southeast of one of Iran's main uranium sites. It is therefore only logical to speculate that the F-15 rescue operation was a fake, meant to smokescreen and conceal something more nefarious. Recall that Trump had been talking about exfiltrating Iran's uranium, an operation that would require building runways in the country. We talked about this the other day, guys. Remember? About this juvenile plan that Trump had about dropping excavators in, making a runway, and then getting the uranium out with special forces, like a video game. That's what this was. And it failed miserably. But they did get the pilot out at great cost, of course. Now, it's plausible that this plan had already been underway as Trump bought time by claiming it was a theoretical possibility under consideration. One of Iran's vice presidents, Zolfaghari, gave a hint on his official account. It says the rest of the story will be revealed in the future. Wait and see, because it wasn't a rescue at all. But if the F-15 did really crash near Isfahan, it raises many questions. Why would an F-15 need to fly directly over that plant in Isfahan? Even if it was bombing the nuclear complex there with the shortest range munitions possible, it wouldn't need to come even remotely that close, particularly over a major population center that would likely have concentrated air defense. And so I'll let you read the rest on your own. It is quite lengthy, but I believe he's right. I think this was an operation, and other channels have jumped on this too, to get this nuclear near bomb grade uranium that was in Isfahan. So amazing. There's always more to the story. And that had to be the case because you wouldn't send in two C-130s. Two C-130s. That's total overkill to go rescue one pilot. It just wouldn't happen. So, but I'll put the link up and let you read it for yourselves, and you can make your own determinations, as always. Then last but not least, I wanted to put this out and let you guys know about it from Jana Banoon and her exposing the Noahide laws and defending the faith blog over on Substack. She says here, sneaky little bastards, how Chabad is stealth coding the American legal system. From education day to Noahide enforcement, why your governors are signing a script that they didn't write. And they're too stupid to know what they're signing, and they don't really care. Because they'll kiss up to their benefactors every chance that they get. That's just the way they are. It's their DNA. But anyway, I'll let you read this for yourselves for the most part, but every state in the union now is declaring this Education and Sharing Day. And they're actually codifying it into their laws, is what this is talking about. And so what she found was that the actual 2026 proclamation suggestions that are being sent to mayors and governors originate from hubs like Chabad of El Paso. These centers serve as distribution points for an ideological takeover of the USA, providing our elected officials with prepackaged legal traps. It's copy and paste, essentially. They aren't just hoping our politicians support them, they are overworking themselves to force this into our laws by providing these ready-made scripts. What is most disturbing is the bait and switch strategy. And like I said, I'll let you read the rest on your own, but yeah, all of these proclamations are going to be codified into each and every state in the union's law, and then they'll spring the trap. And that's what they're setting up right now. But once again, like I said, I'll put the link on the website, don'tspeaknews.com, and that'll be it for now. If you're not familiar with the website, don'tspeaknews.com, here it is. This is home base for everything that we do. I've been thinking about making some changes to it, maybe changing the format a little bit, but it's kind of a scary thought because it took me so long to build this. And then to try and change it now, I'm afraid I'd screw something up. But anyway, this is home base for everything that we do. It's pretty easy to navigate. If you want to subscribe or contact me, just click on this tab here. The subscription box is here. Type in your email, click subscribe, and you're in. Every time a new post comes up, you'll be notified. Don't Speak News at Proton Mail is how you get in touch with me. And then if you want to support the channel, we are listener supported only. Without you guys, we would disappear. Click on channel support and all the ways to support us are listed underneath here. And Rumble, BitChute, and Telegram, those links are all under here, all the places to find us around the internet. Click on that tab and all of those links are there. And that'll be it for now. Wow. Whew, there's a lot, guys. I could sit here and talk for probably hours and never cover everything, not even come close to covering everything. So I'll just keep doing the best I can. And that'll be it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.